Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nolan Greene, and I'm a research analyst on IDC's network infrastructure team covering enterprise wireless LAN. Today, I'm going to be speaking about the case for cloud managed Wi Fi and how it's a new access architecture for today's business requirements. I will talk about IDC's evolution to third platform technologies and how that's impacting the business network. And that's leading to an unprecedented need for modern enterprise grade Wi Fi that provides great speed and great security. I'll talk about the benefits of cloud managed Wi Fi for different verticals and different use cases and leave you with a few words of essential guidance. To set the stage, I want to talk about what IDC calls the third platform. The third platform is a new technology paradigm built on cloud, big data analytics, mobility, and social business. Whereas the first platform was built around mainframe computing and the second platform was built around the rise of the PC and the client server paradigm, the third platform represents a fast moving technology paradigm that moves technology from one to many to many to many. In the enterprise, it decentralizes a lot of technology decisions, moving from technology investments being CIO led to being horizontal function led. A lot of technology investments today come from the CMO's decision. As mentioned, third platform is built around cloud systems, software defined everything, and the widespread emergence of APIs, open standards, and DevOps. And this has led to a great degree of dynamism and faster technology iterations than we have seen before. The third platform has led to a new era of innovation, transformation, and disruption from the front of the business to the very back. We're seeing a change in how leadership is done. Leaders are increasingly digitally savvy, they're tech savvy, and they use technology to make important decisions. There's an omni experience transformation underway where customers of public facing businesses and B2B customers as well have increasingly converged bricks and mortar and digital experiences. Information transformation, this is a big one. Information now is more easily accessed, there is more data available, and it can come to the intended user faster than ever before. And this is really leading to a complete turnaround in businesses' operating models. Operations are data driven, decisions are data driven, and manual processes are increasingly automated. And at the end of the day, this leads to a work source transformation. Top employees want to work at companies that are digitally enabled, and many organizations are increasingly requiring an advanced digital skill set. This affects businesses in all geographies, all verticals, and businesses of all sizes. To share some data behind these trends, IDC asked 1,004 network managers at the end of 2014 what would be the top three investment drivers for the network and for enterprise IT over the next 12 months. And as you see here, many of the common drivers behind technology investments are cited frequently. 50% say they want to improve business processes, with nearly as many saying they want to use technology to reduce the overall cost structure and increase employee productivity. However, as you go down this chart, you're going to see some drivers that weren't always cited as frequently. We see a lot of front of house initiatives here, attracting new customers, bringing new products and services to market, and using technology for customer retention. And while the numbers shown here are small today, qualitative evidence is showing that these numbers should go up in future surveys, meaning that technology, which has normally been thought of as a back end function, increasingly becomes important to the front customer facing end of the business. And with all of this, a modern enterprise grade wireless infrastructure is required for today's business needs. IDC is seeing increasingly that wireless is becoming the primary network access method in the enterprise. However, many organizations are still designed for wired access being predominant. A network redesign that optimizes for wireless might be necessary. And one reason behind this is that Workers are using business critical applications that are increasingly mobilized. Applications for CRM, ERP, analytics, location based services are becoming more ubiquitous on mobile devices, and employees of today's generation increasingly want to work with their mobile devices and not be tethered to stationary desktop connections. And with all of this, we're seeing a rise of faster, more pervasive standards. The 802.11ac standard for wireless is fully on the market now, with Wave 1 having seen great uptake, and Wave 2 802.11ac, which offers theoretical maximum speeds even greater than common wired connections, is emerging onto the market. And these trends apply, as mentioned, to all organizations, from SMBs to Fortune 100s, across the world and across all verticals and segments. Just to share some numbers behind these trends, IDC asked in a recent survey of just over 250 network managers, over the next 5 years, how do you predict that wireless LANs will evolve within your environment as an end user access method? And what we learned is that the future is now. 55% of these network managers, all based in the US, said wireless is the predominant network access method used today. And of the remaining respondents, the majority said they quickly see wireless replacing wired over 1 to 3 years or 4 to 5 years. The move to wireless is underway and the momentum will not be reversed. Similarly, we asked about 802.11ac implementation. When does your organization plan to implement the emerging 802.11ac wireless LAN standard on your network? We saw very similar trends, with 43% of our respondents saying that they'd already deployed 802.11ac today. When you look at that plus those who plan to implement within the next 6 months or 6 months to 12 months, you have 91% who are planning to implement 802.11ac wireless within the year. This represents the fastest uptake of a new wireless standard and really shows how important wireless is becoming to the business. However, traditional controller-based Wi-Fi, which is the predominant model in the market today, has not been the most accessible network architecture for all organizations. Sure, it works well for many, but some smaller businesses, as well as those enterprises that are distributed amongst many locations, found some aspects of controller-based Wi-Fi to be prohibitive. This is where cloud-managed Wi-Fi has come to play. And we define cloud-managed Wi-Fi as a wireless LAN delivery model where control and management are hosted and delivered via the public or the private cloud, depending on the vendor, depending on the customer preference. And this is really great, especially for the distributed enterprise, think chain retail or hospitality, or a network of health clinics or retail banks. With cloud-managed Wi-Fi, the setup of the network, the provisioning and configuration can be handled centrally. Access points are shipped pre-configured to the end location, and all an employee at that branch has to do is plug in the access point. The AP automatically discovers its configuration, and that branch location is up and running with enterprise-grade Wi-Fi within a matter of minutes. No day-to-day branch-level expertise is required, and this is great for that centralized IT team within a distributed enterprise who really lacks the capability to touch tens, hundreds, or thousands of locations spread across tens, hundreds, or thousands of miles. The day-to-day management and troubleshooting can be handled centrally, and things such as application and device visibility are also visible centrally and can be modified and updated as needed. Policy and security updates can happen automatically, being pushed out centrally, and it really streamlines the wireless LAN management for that one centralized team. Another aspect of cloud-managed Wi-Fi that works really well for many organizations is that the investment moves from a large capital investment to a more ongoing subscription-based model. And this is really great in that the controller no longer serves as a choke point for expanding the network. If a new site is brought onto the network, the organization only needs to invest in the number of access points that site needs and the related licenses. And cloud managed Wi-Fi has been around for several years now, and so the SLAs for reliability and failover have been more or less perfected. Cloud security is another aspect that has been really hammered down within the last several years. And so, if you're considering a cloud managed Wi-Fi solution, what are some of the things you should think about? In this cloud here, you see 6 of the most common considerations. Granted, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are definitely some of the biggest things you should look for in a cloud managed Wi-Fi vendor. The ability to easily separate internal and guest networks. This is very important in customer facing enterprises, especially those in retail, consumer finance, that deal with a lot of guest data. You want guests to use their mobile devices on the network, but their data and corporate data should never meet. And having a solution that can easily ensure that is critical. Policy setting is another critical feature of a cloud managed Wi-Fi solution. Being able to restrict access to certain applications based on who the user is, based on time of day. This is what really separates an enterprise grade Wi-Fi solution from a small business or home Wi-Fi solution. You want employees, marketing department perhaps, to be able to have unfettered access to social media. However, in other departments, you may want to restrict that. And obviously, customers and public-facing enterprises should not have access to corporate applications, and policy controls help enforce that as well. Enterprise-grade security almost goes without saying. In any IT discussion, security is one of the top factors mentioned, and a good cloud-managed Wi-Fi solution will be up to speed on the latest in WIPs, wireless intrusion prevention systems, firewalls, and industry-specific compliance and security protocols. Being able to easily access customer engagement applications from a cloud-managed Wi-Fi solution is another key point to look at, especially in organizations that are using Wi-Fi, that are using mobility to engage customers more deeply. Having a solution that supports easy layering of the customer engagement applications onto the management platform is key. Application visibility, of course, is very important. And at the end of the day, you want a vendor who has a future-proofing mindset, that they are regularly and proactively pushing out needed updates, that they are early movers in the latest and greatest standards, and that they are figuring out what their customers need ahead of time, and they're not lagging in responding to the latest Wi-Fi trends. And perhaps most importantly, centralized IT teams who are being asked to do more without an increase in resources want to be able to manage the entire network on a single unified platform. That is, all the access points, all the applications in one place. And a good cloud managed Wi-Fi vendor can provide a single unified turnkey platform. At IDC, we have to be balanced and consider the benefits and challenges of any technology. And cloud managed Wi-Fi does have many benefits, but there are a few challenges that should be considered when evaluating cloud managed Wi-Fi solutions. And I'll go over the benefits of these we've already discussed, but to recap, cloud managed Wi-Fi is great for sites of minimal or no IT, particularly distributed enterprises. One of the reasons for that is the centralized rollout and modification of applications and policies. Everything can be managed, updated, and monitored centrally. Initial setup and configuration is very easy and can be done centrally as well. With the advances that have been made in the cloud host for cloud managed Wi-Fi, there really is no single point of failure. Most access points have great failover capabilities. If the cloud goes down, access points can operate autonomously. If the campus network goes down, there are failover mechanisms such as operating on LTE and others. Cloud managed Wi-Fi vendors today can promise very high SLAs. Linear scalability is a really big benefit. As the network grows, one only needs to purchase a number of APs, related licenses, to grow the network. The controller does not serve as an investment choke point. And finally, that subscription model flexibility that many enterprises desire today. There, of course, are a few challenges. Many of them are cultural. There are still some in IT who have doubts about cloud technologies in general, particularly cloud networking technologies. There are concerns about potential outages. Outages are very rare, and there are great failover mechanisms to prevent those and to mitigate those. But of course, that's something that will need to be addressed. There are misconceptions about cloud security, especially public cloud technologies. Again, that's something that cloud managed Wi-Fi vendors have really worked hard to ensure will not be barriers. And we understand that many businesses are concerned about cyber criminals and hacking and exposure of personal data due to many high-profile events in the news over the last couple of years. But good cloud managed Wi-Fi vendors have very strong security built into their solutions. And finally, a very legitimate challenge is the concerns about subscription economics in larger organizations. Cloud managed Wi-Fi is more or less a network as a service model, and there are licenses for every AP. For large enterprises, the multiplicative effect of those licenses can bring about legitimate cost-benefit concerns when compared to the controller-based model. To know where your organization stands around that, I would recommend meticulously crunching the numbers around cloud managed versus controller-based Wi-Fi. Don't just take it from me. We asked 200 IT managers who are already using cloud managed Wi-Fi and asked them what were some of the reasons for choosing cloud managed Wi-Fi. And as you see here, the overwhelming majority said ease of use for day-to-day operations. However, almost as many said that they have a general preference for cloud technologies. And some of the other factors I mentioned, the cost prohibitive nature of traditional controllers, being able to shift expenses from CapEx to subscription-based OpEx, and the inability to physically install and troubleshoot wireless LAN at every branch and satellite location, those figured prominently for a lot of organizations as well. So with that, I just have a few points of essential guidance. And the first is to evaluate your organization's pros and cons with regard to cloud managed versus traditional wireless LAN. Think about this both in terms of technical requirements and operational requirements. IDC believes there's a place for both, and that every organization should really consider their own unique needs when deciding which one to implement. Consider the available resources to deploy and manage any type of wireless LAN when making these decisions. If the discussion about cloud managed wireless LAN advances, address the stakeholder dynamics that may be standing in the way of a needed technology shift. Evaluate the potential ROI of a cloud-based solution and choose a vendor who's able to roll out new features quickly, one that will be ahead of the curve and proactive and will not put your organization at a competitive disadvantage versus other organizations who rely on digital business. And finally, consider the benefits your organization could realize from a turnkey Wi-Fi platform. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to reach out to me via email or Twitter with any questions or comments. Thank you and have a great day.